Hello, and welcome to this week's lesson. I'm Kieran, and I will be taking you through the 6 words found on this week's social media, which contain popular English words and phrases. We look at words and phrases from everyday life here in the UK, help you pronounce them, provide an easy to understand definition, and give you a clear example of how you could use it in real life. Anyway, let's get started with our first word this week. Hello, and welcome to our 22nd recording. And this week is the first week back after the summer holiday. So we have plenty of summary words for you in this week's recording. So let's get on with this latest lesson and teach you the words that we have found on social media this week. Okay, the first word we have for you this week is amateurish. Let's have a look at the definition. So this is someone who doesn't have the correct skills required to do a job properly. They often struggle and make serious mistakes. So there's the definition, but let's have a look at an example where this may be used. The boy was amateurish when it came to setting up new TVs. He was not sure which cables he should be fitting into his new TV. Moving on to the second word in this week's lesson, we look at the term warm up. Now, what does warm up mean and what does it involve? Well, let's take a look in the definition. So, these are the gentle exercises we do before we start our main exercise. It reduces the risk of getting an injury. So that's great to make sure you don't get injuries. And let's learn even more by looking at the example. So, the girl made sure she always did her warm-up before her long run. This time, she did her warm-up on the beach before her long run on the summer day. The next term we have for you in lesson 22 is that of sun-drenched. Now, what does sun-drenched mean? Well, as always, let's take a look with the definition. So, this may be a particular place which receives a lot of sunlight. Many summer flowers, like sunflowers, need sun-drenched conditions. So this is really interesting. So along with water and sunlight, these are the conditions flowers need to grow. So let's take a look at an example. The farmer decided to plant his sunflowers in the sun-drenched field. Here, the sunflowers would get the sunlight which they needed. The next word in this week's lesson is both an active and relaxing one, and this is hiking. Wow, so what does hiking mean? So let's take a look at the definition first. This is when we go on long walks, which usually last for most of the day. Hiking mainly takes place in the countryside areas. So there's a definition, and let's learn a little more about hiking by looking at an example. The group of hikers often went hiking when the weather was warm and sunny. They walk 15 kilometers in total from village to village. And here is the penultimate term in this week's lesson. So let's have a look at this one. And this one is deck chair. So what is deck chair? Well, let's have a look with the definition. So this is a foldable wooden chair with cushions. These deck chairs are often found at places such as beaches or pools for people to relax in. So that's a great definition for deck chairs, and let's learn even more by looking at the example. The deck chairs were set out on the beach in the morning, ready for the tourists to use. Tourists like to sit and relax in front of the sea. And finally, we reached the end of lesson 22, and with that we come to the last word. And this word is voyage. So what does voyage mean? Well, let's have a look at the definition of voyage. This is a journey made either by boat through the sea or by spaceship through space. Voyages are usually long journeys. So there's the definition, and now let's learn even more by moving on to the example. There were a number of boats used at the beach to take tourists on day voyages around the coasts. These were very popular, especially on sunny and warm days where the public could cool down. Thank you for taking part in this week's lesson. We really appreciate your company. We will be back with more lessons each week to provide you with the most important English words and phrases. Why not check out our website and find out how you can further improve your English with our online self-study courses. We have a free 2-week trial so you can learn exactly how to use our course by the time the trial ends. Feel free to check out our social media feeds to keep up with the latest news. Anyway, thanks for joining us again, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye!